So, who are you and what makes you think you know anything about whether World War III is coming or not?
Who am I? I'm a traveller. Getting a little bit older now, aged 62. I have a variety of different experiences in my background which evolved from the military into private military work, private security work around the world's different conflict zones, progressing into private equity, banking business and business in general. So I've seen the underbelly and the overbelly of the world and the developments since the wall came down over the last 30, 35 years. So I think as much as anyone else who treads the path that I do, I've gathered a lot of both information, experience and insight over the years, from all sides of the coin. So I know as many senior Russians as I know senior Brits. I've mixed with governors in China and African presidents and everything in between, and heard their private, sincere opinions from their perspective about what goes on in the world, and also from ordinary people from one part. I'm quite a communicative person, most Scots are, so when I travel I tend to engage with people from all perspectives and walks of life, and you gather a lot of insight by being able to do that.
Given the current situation, what's going to come next?
We are, if we use the phrase sliding into World War III, it's perhaps a bit of an extreme projection of it, but we are certainly in what is almost an irreversible slide into a variety of, or a conglomeration of, world conflicts over resources and money. And it seems to be at such an advanced stage at the moment that the ability to reverse it is going to be difficult, if not impossible, for ordinary people. And my observation is that the people who lead us, whether they be from a democratic society or an autocratic society, increasingly they all appear to be cut from the same cloth. And for them, it suits them to be able to guide, maneuver, push the world in a direction that suits them to meet their objectives. And whether those objectives are neo-colonialism, world domination, securing wealth, assets and rare minerals, or whether it's purely what people nowadays would call a PC agenda with some kind of politically motivated aim to change the world into an image that they see for right or for wrong, is something that they would like to see. Everything is originating from the same well, and that well is a well of authoritarianism. So we're heading back to where the world was 500 years ago. We're heading back into might is right, overcoming rule of law, where individual rights and the rights of ordinary people are subsumed to a group aim, but that group aim is hidden from most people. It's not a political perspective anymore. It's a personal agenda of people in power to enrich themselves and to increase the amount of power that they hold.
So the old definitions, right wing, left wing, the Cold War sort of terms, not relevant anymore to the current situation?
The reality of political wings, left, right, communism, fascism, etc., are largely irrelevant in this current day and age. People like to fling them around. So socialists like to accuse everybody of being a fascist. people on the right like to accuse socialists of being, sort of mindless do-gooders that want to give everybody's wealth away. But in reality, all of these things are just labels. Like, they are just labels that are convenient for people in power to fly, to wear, to fly as a flag. They're convenient for them to follow their agenda, which is control. And the advent of the information age effectively has made control much easier. It's made manipulation of information, manipulation of people, acquisition of control, insider trading. It's delivered all of those tools into the hands of people that can afford to buy them and afford to buy those leading positions around the world. So there is no, if you go back, I mean, you're of a similar age to me, but if we go back to when we were young men, we can look at politicians of that era. One was buried recently, Jimmy Carter, for example. Ronald Reagan was another one. People like Tony Benn in the UK, or even Margaret Thatcher for that matter, that regardless of whether you agreed with them, regardless of whether you shared their politics, you had that feeling, or at least that understanding, that they believed in themselves. That whatever it was they were selling to us as a general population was genuine. It was something that they truly believed would take the country or the people that they represented forward and generate results that would be beneficial for everybody. But now I think that even the least educated, ordinary person on the street, your average bus driver, taxi driver, plumber, etc., can quickly come to the conclusion that the people who claim to represent them no longer represent them at all. That the people who claim to represent them only represent their own interests. And that interest is purely the collection of wealth and power. And power is the tool for more wealth. And you can, it's not a surprise. You can see over the last 10, 15, 20 years how the division between wealthy and poor in the world has grown wider and wider. And look, I'm not a communist. I'm a free market guy. I've made my money in business over the years. I believe that people willing to take risks and willing to move forward and invest their money, run a company, have the sleepless nights, they do have a right to get some kind of return on the gamble or the risk that they take and the work they put into it. So I'm not advocating that we're all equal and everything is fine. But when the wealthy elite acquire so much wealth that they can buy everybody, including the top politicians, and they can generate or push policy in the direction that they want it to go in, it's unhealthy. And there's only one reason for doing that, and one reason only. You can strip away all the argumentation and just come to the center. And the one reason for doing that is to make more money. And it's a sickness. And if we look at the developments around the world, the way that people who historically would have been diametrically opposite to each other, so we're talking about communist Russia or capitalist America, are all effectively behaving like each other. So it's very difficult to draw a line between Putin's claim to Ukrainian territory and Trump's claim to the Panama Canal or Greenland. Okay, whichever way you approach it, of course, one is more aggressive than the other. But whichever way you approach it, it's still strong-arming. It's still forcing people to accept your agenda. And we get back to the might is right philosophy.
So how do you think the re-election of Trump is going to affect what you just talked about?
Well, Trump is really interesting because he has the capacity to do a lot of good. and equally the capacity to create a lot of disaster. And he doesn't appear to have the filter to understand the difference between one and the other. So there are a lot of things about Trump that I admire, because myself as a leader or a businessman previously would say that that's how I used to run my business, you know. I mean, in dealing with other people and understanding that most people that you deal with in that arena are going to not be well-intentioned towards you. They have their own goals and objectives. That having leverage, having power, and having the ability to actually manipulate and push them to do what you want them to do is in some ways beneficial. So there we have the dichotomy, don't we? That true democracy allows nothing to get done. So under true democracy, we end up with these DEI policies, we end up with this green agenda, which is taking everybody nowhere and bankrupting the most liberal economies in the world. But the opposite to true democracy, which is autocracy, effectively stifles any form of protest and stifles any development, and actually leads to more aggression, more direct action between the different parties that have more to win or lose in that scenario. So while we can welcome a lot of what Trump is doing within the USA and hope that that will spill over into other democratic countries in terms of encouraging people to cut out a lot of the unnecessary bureaucracy that exists in modern society, to make government smaller rather than bigger, the old Reagan scenario. The problem is that Donald Trump has the capacity to go too far. So he doesn't have a filter, he doesn't appear to have a filter, he doesn't have any limits. So that power and success in delivering has the potential to allow him to overreach and create conflict and not truly represent the people that have actually sort of put him into power. So it'll be interesting to see. At the moment, there's euphoria in the United States that this kind of democratic-led fantasy world of politics is now being put to sleep, and that American government is appearing to address realistic issues that exist within the United States. But whether people get what they really think they voted for, or whether what they end up getting is an extreme version of that goes well beyond what is good for them, is still open to question.
So what's going to happen now then?
I have a feeling that we are facing greater conflict. So the problem with autocratic leadership is ego. So autocratic leadership builds an egotistical core around the autocratic leader. So effectively no one willing to tell him he's wrong or to raise any questions about, well, maybe this isn't the right way to go and maybe we should be doing something different. So we have a series of leaders around the world. Xi Jinping in China with his determination for a greater China and, the multi-dash line and domination of the South China Sea and neighboring countries, the Belt and Road. Even suggestions in China recently about amongst people, and remember that in China, people cannot make public declarations that are not sanctioned by the Chinese Communist Party. So when you see on the internet that Chinese people are openly calling for the reclamation of Russian land that was taken over by the Russians at the Second World War, you understand that the potential for conflict in the Russian Far East is there. So even though Xi Jinping and the next autocrat along the line appear to be acting in concert with each other, very much like Adolf Hitler and Joseph Stalin appeared to be acting in concert with each other when they invaded Poland, they have completely different agendas that have the potential to lead to conflict. And unfortunately, that doesn't exist only in that environment. So we now have Emperor Erdogan wanting to reinvigorate the Ottoman Empire through the Middle East. We have the European Union and the UK government that are still locked in this socialist dreamland of where they want to reduce carbon emissions, rightly or wrongly, through enforcing a series of measures on their people that will bankrupt the countries and actually drive them will set them back hundreds of years effectively economically if they go through with it. And then you have America, the land of the free, which used to be the guarantor for all the good and bad America did, the United States did. It was still seen as the guarantor of democracy globally. That's why the US dollar has been so successful, because people realize that if you hold US dollar, you can get a fair hearing. But which direction is the United States going to go in? And if the United States goes down the road of autocracy and egoism, then it just brings itself into that potential for conflict with the European Union, with China, with Turkey, with the Middle East. You can see all of these multiple agendas of all these different autocrats stacking up like a tinderbox, like a bonfire.
So when you say increasing conflict, do you mean disagreement or you mean war?
Well, what Ukraine has demonstrated, everybody believes that war is something for the history books. Well, not everybody. If you're a citizen of Iraq, you know that's not the case, or Iran, or certain parts of Africa where war has been almost constant. But everybody who has the fortune to live in the developed world has gone to sleep in a dreamland that war is a thing of the past. And the Ukraine war has hopefully woken people up, although I'm not sure. So Clausewitz wrote that war is just an extension of foreign policy. And that's equally as true today as it ever was before. And whether that happens via proxy war or direct conflict, it's still a conflict between those relevant parties. So you can see that China and the United States, with everything from sanctions to tariffs to proxy war throughout African countries or the Middle East, you can see that whole thing. Southeast Asia is classic. So Southeast Asia will ultimately become a proxy war environment between the great powers. And we have to understand that the great powers as they exist on the planet now are effectively the United States and China. Europe is a busted flush. It just doesn't understand it's a busted flush yet. I find the European Parliament quite amusing in that they're frequently boasting about how they are the leaders in the world at legislation, and they're the leaders in the world at organizing things to be done properly, and everybody follows us. Only as long as it suits them to do trade with Europe. And when it no longer suits them to trade with Europe, then they won't follow those policies. And Europe has effectively tricked itself into believing that all of these bureaucratic policies are going to protect them from reality. So all of these treaties and laws and all of those bits and pieces. But we are moving now clearly into a might is right environment. I've got the power and I'm going to take what I want. And if you don't like it, I'm going to punish you. And Europe is not set up to exist like that. So Europe has a problem. It has a bigger problem than any of the other great powers do, because it has a long way to come back from that.
What could be done to try to prevent this slide into increased conflict? And how can the situation be improved? Or can it?
I think that what used to exist in Europe and the United States prior to the wall coming down was at least the illusion that you got a fair hearing. So at least that your rights were respected, that you could speak out if you felt bad done by, that you could get rule of law in courts, your property was respected, that you as an individual could live a life that was largely uninterrupted by an interfering government that wanted to control every single aspect of your life. And this is what we're talking about, this control, this obsession with controlling every aspect of people's lives. So I think the way forward, if it's still possible, and I'm not sure it is, but the way forward has got to be to return, at least in the quasi-democratic countries that still exist, is to return power back to the people in the form of a Swiss-style direct democracy where people can actually realistically interface with the government and tell the government what they want. So instead of policy being run by some, by some theoretical aspect of the elite, it's run by what the citizens actually want. And if that's still possible to do in those countries where people can take control back, not the Trump style taking control, which is effectively just handing all the power to Trump to make all the decisions, but a real control of direct democracy where people can get engaged in government, can take control of their lives again, can make the right decisions about things like immigration, for example, and things like defense spending, and whether do we want, in this day and age, with the dangers we face, do we want to have a strong army, or do we want to have lots of electric cars? Well, I know which of the two I want. It's clear, okay? The electric cars are going to be no use to anyone if we're under the jackboot of somebody that wishes us ill. And it's clear on the planet as it stands today that we are all unsafe from these forces of autocracy that are ranged against us. So we need to start looking after our security, and we need to start looking after our freedoms. And if we do that, then there is a chance that citizens of places like Russia or China or wherever that are falling more under those will say, well, we want some of that as well. This is the huge mistake, and I was there. I was in Russia and China during the 1990s after the walls came down and through all the changes, and I opened businesses in all of those countries, and we were welcomed. There was a period of hope where ordinary citizens of those countries felt that there was change where they could have those freedoms that other people had. And some countries did, like Poland or Estonia, and you see how well they've done and how they've transformed from being those autocratic, dominated, ground down people to being entrepreneurs and free and running their countries. And other people want part of that, and arguably there are lots of different opinions, but one opinion is that arguably that's what Ukrainians wanted when they had the Orange Revolution. Arguably that's what Putin doesn't like, because if Ukrainians are successful in achieving that kind of European status and European standard of living and freedoms, Russians will say, well, why can't we have that as well? Why are you still looting us? But what's actually happening is, at the moment, we are so badly managed and so badly led in the West that we're becoming more like the autocratic countries, and we're not demonstrating any kind of example. So if you're Chinese and you see that Keir Starmer is locking up people for 5 years for complaining about something that's happening on the street, which is their right, you'll be saying to yourself, well, why would I riot in China? Why would I demand in China to be like that? That's even worse than what I have here. At least if I follow the government diktat and I don't cause any trouble, I can live comfortably, I don't have anything to worry about as long as I keep my mouth shut. There is nothing over there that they can sell to me to make me to want to change this. So the reality is, in the last 20 years. We've gone from being a beacon of democracy and light and whatever in the world to being equally as corrupt and equally as autocratic, or perhaps not equally, but certainly heading down that road, as the very people that we wanted to provide an example to change. You know? And if you think about it, just a simple example, 20, 30 years ago, if a politician from the UK or Germany wanted to go to a conference somewhere, they would fly commercial with British Airways, right? And in the 1990s, they started turning up at conferences and they watched all these, all of these small dictators from shit-ass countries in the middle of nowhere turning up in Falcon 900 jets and, with the servants and all the other bits and pieces. And instead of taking that and saying, look, we fly commercial, we don't waste your money on trophy symbols like that, they started to dream of having the same as leaders of their countries. So then you started to find that all these European countries all started having big Airbus jets as their private prime ministerial transport. And everybody started traveling around the world living big as leaders. And once you get to that standard, nobody wants to give up leadership, do they? And then once they're flying around the world living this 5-star rock star lifestyle as a leader, they'll do whatever it takes to stay in power. And then once they start coming together with the financial elite, they will have learned that they love this lifestyle. They like their palace and checkers. They like their private jet. They like this, this feeling of being a king around the world. So now when they start doing deals behind the scenes, they want to make money so that they can continue that lifestyle after they finish their political career. So they jump directly from politics into business already with millions of dollars in the bank and a private jet, or someone willing to give them a private jet. So this engagement of autocracy and democracy has actually led over the last 25 years to all the bad habits of autocracy coming across to the democratic elite, and not the other way around. And remember that it's almost like a mafia. And these are the people who can, that concept that, the state has a monopoly on violence. So these people who have the power, who have the money, who have the connections, now control the state monopoly on violence and imprisonment. So if you're one of those people, what's not to like about it? If you don't like someone, you can send a drone and drop a bomb on them. If you don't like someone domestic, you can have them arrested on trumped-up charges and have your public prosecutor lock them up for a long time rather than listen to what they have to say. It's a really, really dangerous world we're all moving into.